Stop the insanity. Get focused on what really matters in life. Your faith, your family, your finances, and your future. Now sit back and change the trajectory of your life. This is Money for Life, brought to you by the 100-Year Savings Solution. Are you concerned about the markets? Stop taking unnecessary risks with your money while also getting great benefits. Visit us at 100yearsavings.com. Now, let's welcome your Money for Life hosts, Teresa Kuhn and Rick Sapio.
All right, everyone, this is Rick Sapio, and I want everybody to stop right now and go to www.glennandamber.com. And that's Glenn. He's Glenn with two N's, glennandamber.com. And lo and behold, we have them live. So if you're watching on video, you'll see them. Welcome to another edition of Money for Life, where we help you think about and reformulate and think long-term about your faith, your family, your finances, and your future. So Glenn and Amber, in the preamble to the call, I said something along the lines of, we don't invest in husband and wife teams.
We understand why.
There's some challenges.
First of all, just tell everybody what you've done and how you've gotten from zero to, I don't even want to say the number because it's a massive number. I can't even believe it that you guys look sane after doing something several hundred times, but you'll say the real number. So give us a background on what you guys do and how you got to such a high number and what that number is.
We own multiple companies now, but when we started, I've been an entrepreneur since I was 19 years old, always had my own businesses. I've had 3 different businesses. And so always wanted to get into real estate. And when I met Amber, we wanted to get into real estate. I wanted to buy long-term rentals. I'm more of a residual income guy. And she wanted to do a flip. And I don't have any vision.
You're leaving a massive part out. Everybody wants to know how many years ago and how you met.
So how many years ago? So
End of 2007 was when we started our first flip, but we met each other actually through a network marketing business. I was in Texas and he was in New York. So Fast forward.
We were friends though for 2.5 years for it to happen romantically. She was in another part of the country. And so as it would happen, we were both going through divorce from our spouses and she ended up coming up here to New York. I got her to come up here because we were going to start doing some deals together. And then we ended up getting connected romantically, and best thing she ever did, she always says to me. And so
yes, I've loved the 15 winters that I've spent in New York. It's been great.
Where were you when you first met? What town in New York? And you're still there, I assume.
Right now, we're still here. We just bought our dream house in Florida. We're moving to in a few months, but we're going to be on the ocean. But we live in upstate New York, a town called Rotterdam, right by Schenectady and Albany. It's right in the capital district of upstate New York, about 2.5 hours outside the city. And Amber was from Dallas. That's where she was from.
Yeah, I'm originally from Texas. I'm a Texas girl stuck in a New York world.
So we're moving to the Gulf now. So
Amber, I grew up in New York City and moved to Texas. Right now, I'm recording from my office in Dallas, where I've been for 27 years. Did you ever go to the Plaza of the Americas with the ice skating rink? You remember that building?
The Galleria. I used to go ice skating at the Galleria all the time.
Well, we have an ice skating rink too, and that's how the Dallas Stars ended up moving to Dallas. But what part of Dallas are you from?
Well, I was born in Dallas. I grew up in North Richland Hills. I built a house in Mansfield. I lived in Arlington. I built a house in Grapevine. Yeah, I lived all over the Metroplex.
Well, I'm in downtown Dallas and I live nearby, so.
Oh, wow. Cool. I worked in Irving for 17 years.
All right. Well, that's not far. So that's where our church is.
Actually, the very first apartment I ever lived in, they tore down, and it's now the parking lot for the new Texas Stadium.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Glenn, I'm sorry. I had to ask. So you meet at a network marketing event.
You Texas people got a little tangent there. Texas
I know.
Tangent.
I miss Texas. I know. So we met, and then we started jumping into, we went to a local seminar here. It was called like Driving for Dollars or something like that, right? Something like that. Yeah. And this guy goes, yeah, to be successful, we'll go in houses that she'll never go in. And he pointed at me, and I just sat there and thought to myself, dude, you have no idea who you're talking to. We pretty much blew the doors off of.
Well, the first house, a lot of people don't know the story. I mean, you're used to telling it, but you just kind of walk us through high level. You buy a house, you make 33 grand the first time. I mean,
that was the second one. The first one we made 17 on. First we made 17 on.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
Blood, sweat, tears,
literally.
Fights. I'm pretty sure that in the middle of the night I wake up and she'd be standing over me with a knife looking at me. And I mean, it was pretty bad for a while. We were getting into it pretty good.
I would have done poison.
That's true. Yeah. Well, it's nice to know you've thought that through. That's really great to know. So I'm glad this will be recorded. So in case I disappear, you guys will know. There'll be evidence.
I love when people kid like that. My wife and I do the same thing. She's like, I got 20 million on you. I'm like, I don't like to be reminded.
I guess for the people that are listening, though, it's probably really important to know that, like, we had nothing when we started. Glenn was $80,000 in credit card debt. I didn't have the debt, but I really didn't have anything. And neither one of us have college educations. Like, when we finally got to the point where we moved in together, we bought a $100 couch off of Craigslist that reeked of cigarette smoke that we had to sit on the patio to air out. We slept on an air mattress. I mean, like, for a while, we really came from the school of hard knocks and like built this the hard way. And, thankfully now there's a lot of education platforms. We actually offer some education ourselves to really get people off the ground and give them a track to run on. But we did it all the hard way.
People should know, though, to kind of fast forward. So we started off real tough to figure it out.
Very grassroots.
One house our first year, three the next year, then seven, then maybe 20. And we kind of grew. We've done over 700 houses since then.
700. I want everybody to listen to just think about that. 700 houses. That is incredible. How big is your team?
So that's over the course of 10 years now. So our team in that company is about 15 people that are employees of the team. Obviously, we have a lot of subcontractors and contractors and stuff that we sub out to. But right now, it's primarily, we'll do about 100 deals a year. About 80 to 85 are going to be wholesale deals. We buy the contract and sell it to somebody else. Then we're now cherry picking about 10 renovations a year. We pick up 5 or 10 rentals a year we hang on to. So that's our model now. Our biggest year ever was 47 or 49 full renovations in a year, and I think I wanted to
pull my hair out.
Oh, it was horrible. So that was a tough year.
Tell us what it means to buy the contract, because I've done real estate personally. I've never purchased a contract. So I go put a house under contract, and then you buy the contract for me for a price?
Right. So Rick, let's say you inherit a house. The typical thing is someone inherits a house, or they have a house, they're a motivated seller, right? There's someone that has to get out. We come in and say, listen, Rick, we'll give you, let's say $100,000 for the house. But we let you know up front, listen, what we're going to do is we're going to take it back and evaluate this. We might buy it ourselves, which we might, or we may sell it off to one of our partners or to somebody else we work with, or what we're going to do. But we're going to do the best exit strategy to get you your $100,000. I'll then go to market to our list of cash buyers, and they'll pay us 110, 120, whatever it is, they'll pay us for that contract. So then we make the difference. We make the rip, so to speak, is what we make, right? That's the difference that we make. I'm oversimplifying it, but that's really what it is. We're selling the contract. And right now in the hot market, we've been doing this for many years. Now a ton of people are doing it out there. I think a lot of people are doing it incorrectly, in my opinion, but whatever. That's what our company does. We do it very professional. We let people know what we're doing so they know we don't try and hide the fact selling the contract.
So let's zoom out on this. So you guys created a brand, you worked your butt off to create the brand, you've done the hard work, and now you've got an inventory or potentially large number of people that will come to you because it's easier to get it under contract, knowing full well that it's a contract that will close. You're not going to monkey them around. And who cares what you do? I know what I want. I want my 100,000. Right. And I like it. That's brilliant.
For us, it's a really low risk model. We'll probably spend 40 grand a year on marketing. We do a lot of TV ads and that kind of stuff, and radio we're on yesterday. And we do a lot of direct mail. So we spend a lot on marketing to make the phone ring here for us, but to do that many deals, we don't just knock on doors to find that many deals. There's a system, of course.
All right, everyone. And now this is a message from our sponsor, the 100-Year Savings Solution. Teresa and I do these podcasts because we are very committed to you having wealth in your life. And that wealth is long-term wealth. And how do you get wealth? You get wealth by employing the barbell investment strategy, in which you focus on creating a foundation of wealth using specially designed whole life insurance from a mutually owned insurance company. And you're going to get higher returns with far less risk. I call it risk-free, but it's far less risk than you can get anywhere else in the world. And once you have that financial foundation set up, the rest of your wealth creation is almost automatic. Go to www.100yearsavings.com. So if you do 100 deals this year, I know it may not be 100, but what percent will be selling the contract?
80.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
It used to be the other way around, but we realized right now some people are really paying a lot of money. There's people that can outbid us to do renovations. They do the work themselves, or they have connections, or they really want to live there, or whatever. They're willing to pay more for a house than I'm willing to pay as a flipper.
And we have more overhead.
We have a full office and staff. Yeah. So if they want to pay more and the numbers work for them, I'm happy for them.
They're not having to spend the money doing all the marketing either.
Right.
So for the audience's benefit, I'm asking these questions because I want you to know, look, this is a couple that came from nothing, started behind the eight ball with 80,000 in debt, and now own a bunch of homes, which I want to ask about, and have a business. I mean, I can do the math in my head and figure out how much you're making on the contracts, but ultimately real wealth, since this is about 100-year thinking, will be when you own a cadre of homes. So what's the vision for how many homes you want to have?
My vision's always been to have 100 houses, not doors, but 100 buildings under, and we primarily right now are are doing single family and 2-family units. That's really all that we have. I know there's a lot of argument out there that people say, oh, those aren't great for cash flow. And they may not be, but they're also great for wealth building. They're also great to liquidate if you have to. So there's some advantages. And plus, it's what we know. It's what we market for. So we tend to have, they just fall in the door. Like my team will go, Glenn, this is going to be a good rental for you. Okay, now we'll buy it and turn it into a rental. You know what I mean? So that's kind of what we do. So our goal is to have at least 100 doors, have those all paid off as soon as humanly possible. Because in my mind, that's $100,000 a month net in residual income. We certainly make a lot of money in active income from what we do. But as you know, and your listeners right now, there's active income that you make money while you're working. Residual income is making money when you sleep. Not to sound cheesy, but that's what it is. I mean, you're getting paid money from rent while you sleep. So once those houses are paid off and they're managed by a property management company, we don't do any of our own management. We literally drive by 3 or 4 houses on the way to work, depending on which way we go to our office. It's a 10-minute drive. And they're houses that we own and they don't have no idea. Sometimes I walk by them. They're that close to my house and they're like, people are out there in the yard. They wave. I go, how you doing today?
Keep paying my mortgage.
Yeah, they have no idea who I am. I just love that. One day I was walking by and my dog took a leak on the one guy. He kind of looked down. I'm thinking, actually, it's my property, but I won't say a word. So we like being anonymous owners. Like that's something we like. We like being anonymous owners and not having them know. Because for me, the tax benefits are amazing, right? To being a real estate investor, the long-term, the residual income is great. At the end of the day, I can pass on my family. That'll pay for my long-term health care. I don't ever want to be the person that gets to the end of my life and I can't afford health care. So I wind up in a home, especially a government home or a city home or whatever they have now, county homes. I just personally want to position myself.
We don't want to put that burden on our children either.
No, I don't want my kids to have to figure out how to pay for that. Because, I know that's going to be 30, 40 grand a month to have that kind of, if you want to have that kind of health care at the end. And I want to be able to have that kind of wealth so I don't have to worry about it.
I was going to say, when we started, he was right. I was kind of more attracted to the sexy idea of flipping a house, taking something ugly and turning it into something beautiful. And I do still enjoy doing that. But like he said, we get to cherry pick those now. And when we started wholesaling, we may technically make more on paper by flipping the house, but the time and effort it takes to do that outweighs how much, even if we make a little bit less of a profit by wholesaling it, it's still worth it to do that just to be able to like churn and burn that money.
We've done wholesales.
Here's the thing, for me, I don't know if you know anything about my history, but I spent some time interviewing 44 billionaires and I spent time in their homes and travel with them. And what I learned is people that understand what I'm about to say, which it seems like you guys clearly do, can create massive wealth. And the question is this, would you rather be king or would you rather be rich? And people that get rich oftentimes do something very mundane and boring and monotonous, and they stay there. They don't think, well, now I got to buy a jet, or now I got to be CEO, or now I got to do the best flip as rated by some arbitrary TV show or whatever. So I think the path you're on, if you can get your ego out of the way, you guys could create immense wealth selling the contracts and being the best in the world at single family contract flipping. I don't know. I'm not telling you what to do. It took me a long time to get my ego out of the way. And I just literally right before this, we're working on a deal. And this guy, of a company is very successful. And I said, you're clearly not the CEO. I mean, you need somebody who has more expertise in your area. He goes, I am absolutely the CEO. And if this company goes bankrupt with me in it, at least I did it. And I'm like, thank you very much. You just gave me the keys to the kingdom. He goes, what do you mean by that? I said, I'm moving on. And because you want somebody whose mindset is, I'm going to do whatever it takes to grow the value, in that case, of the company for the shareholders. And in your case, potentially the value of your estate for your kids. So I may have cut you off, Amber, and if I did, I apologize. So finish your thought, but I have a big question. How old are the kids and how do you balance it all? And how do you shut it down? And how do you not go to electronic Never land?
Yeah. Great question. Our littlest will be 6 in a couple of months. So 6, 8, 16, and 21. So we've got a big span of kids and sports and schools and activities and all of that stuff. I did want to address, you mentioned working together as husband and wife. And when we first started, we fought a lot.
Did we? I don't remember.
We're both type A's, but one of the tricks, and we teach our students this too, one of the tricks, whether you're a husband and wife or partners just in general, is things changed whenever we defined our roles. I'm responsible for ABC and you're responsible for XYZ. And then you support each other within those roles. So before it was like playing the blame game. I thought you were going to do that. No, I thought you were going to do that. So once we had those like defined job descriptions and roles, like life changed for us and that made it a lot easier.
When did that happen?
Pretty early on. I would say maybe our second year.
After a few years.
Yeah.
I think we battled pretty hard for a while to figure out why we were battling. We didn't know why we were battling. We kept stepping on each other's toes. Again,
no
corporate background. I worked for myself since I was 19. She worked for a family business. We never had an experience with that structure. And frankly, I don't like structure. So I have it in my companies. I just want to be in it.
And both of our former spouses were pretty passive people in personality wise. So, here we are all of a sudden, both type A's, both going, head to head.
Just let's back up a step, because what you're saying is massive. It's massive because, number one, very few companies do it. And I get into these battles when we invest into a company. I say, okay, we're going to divide and conquer. We're going to each have a role, and you're going to have objectives within your role. And companies push back all the time, but it's nirvana, and it creates simplicity, probability, and leverage, which are our three values. And simplicity means it simplifies everything. Probability is it increases the probability that you'll be successful and you won't kill each other. And leverage, it leverages your calendars, your expertise, et cetera, et cetera. So, wow, that's massive.
We're real big on family balance. Actually, 6 businesses we run, and we're really good about putting the right people in to run those.
Can you just say what they are really quick, the name and what it does quickly?
Our flipping company is Signature Home Buyers. We have another networking company called REI Marketplace that runs. It's a nationwide. We just made it nationwide networking group for real estate investors. We have our brokerage, Signature Premier Realty. We have our holding company, DBCC Holdings. That's our holding for our business. We have an Airbnb business called Dreams Properties. And the big boy really is what has come out of the past 4.5 years is Vestor Pro. We put on the home flipping workshop. That has gone virtual, and that's been we're teaching people how to do what we do. And our slogan there is to help everyday people create wealth through real estate investing through a wide variety of ways.
I love it.
So how do you manage those companies and be the best husband, be the best son, be the best father you can be? And God knows I drop the ball on a regular basis, but I do work at it. And I think you have to make it a priority. If you are busy in your work and you're like, I'm working 80 hours a week. If somebody dies, you'll make time for the funeral. If you get sick, you will have to lay in bed and heal. Or if you break your leg, you're going to make time for yourself. And if you don't make that same priority for your family, you wake up one day and they're out of the house and they're gone and you've never spent time with them.
Glenn, how do you do that? What are you doing, or what do you need to do more of?
Make it a priority.
But how? Give me an example.
So for instance, I have dates with my kids. Last night, my daughter's 16. We have a weekly date on Wednesdays. That's something I do with her on a regular basis. I make sure to walk upstairs and say, good morning to her and give her a hug and a kiss. Little simple things to start your day. I hug my kids before I leave. I spend time playing ball with the kids. When it's summertime, I'm in the pool and I make sure I do that. Amber and I have a date night on Friday nights that we're pretty religiously we stick to. And we try and grab lunch throughout the weekend from time. COVID's been strange, but we do our best with that. We also make time to travel as a family. Again, pre-COVID, but now whatever. So we've traveled the world with our family. We make time for our family, but we have to do it in balance. I can't just spend 40 hours a week with my family, but I want to make sure I spend quality time. And when I'm there, I shut my phone off.
Yeah. And something like I try to do too is like whatever moment you're in, just be really present in that moment. Because if you're at work, like I'm in work mode, I'm focused, I'm not doing family stuff. But when I'm at home, the computer's off. I mean, it was kind of funny when my kids were even younger. Like if I had my laptop on, they would actually come up and like push my lap cover down.
Yeah.
And like, it was kind of an aha moment for me. Like they want my attention and they deserve my attention.
Yeah.
So when I'm with my kids, I'm with my kids. They walk up to me and I'm on my phone. I put my phone down and I look them in eye to eye. I don't talk to them out the side of my head.
I go downstairs and play Donkey Kong with the little ones at night a few times a week. Just, little dumb things that they love.
And I think there's times too that you're out of balance. Balance is kind of an illusion. So there are times where you might be more in work mode, but make sure to make up for that. If you have a success, celebrate that together as a family. Somebody asked us the other day, and I thought it was pretty interesting, what's the best part of working together? And for me, I think it's the journey. And I probably wouldn't have said this 10 years ago, but it's not like we see each other 24 hours a day, even though we work together either. But when you have a job, you spend more time at your work than you do at home. The waking hours anyway. So, you take a couple, for example, a husband and wife, and they're rowing in boats in the same direction, but they're in 2 different boats. We get to row in the same boat. And that, provides more momentum and it makes us reach our goals more quickly.
Our kids see us deal with conflict and deal with issues. And I think that we include my older children when we're making big life decisions. I include them in what my thoughts are. I even tell them my fears are. Here's what I'm scared of, guys. My dad never talked about fear. My dad was an awesome man, but he never talked about that. But I wanted to share my kids so that when they get older, they can realize, dad was scared about stuff too.
But he pushed through it.
So I try and lead them, but I also try and explain my journey a little bit. So I think that's how we try and bond and spend time. I'm a big John Maxwell fan. And one of his articles, one of his books, he talked about balance. And he said, you're never in balance for very long. If you're in balance in one, you're out in the other. But what I tell my people I teach, when I coach, I say, you want to make sure that when you look back over the course of a week, that you've stayed balanced. Maybe not daily, maybe not hourly, but over the course of a week or a month or a year, make sure you've been balanced. You've made time for those things that are important to you. If you don't have your health, you don't have your family, what good is $1 billion? To me, it's nothing. My dad died pretty much painless, but he had 850 people come to his funeral?
Wow. How many years ago was that?
3 years ago. So still a little raw.
He wasn't on Facebook. He had no social media. He was from a small town. He had no cell phone ever.
Isn't that great? I tell people all the time, you're addicted to your Facebook friends and your likes and all that, but how many of those Facebook friends are going to be on your deathbed, around the bed? Zero. It's a complete waste of time. All right, I know you got a hard stop, so I want to give you the final word, but I want to circle back with you. I feel like I know you guys, which is pretty weird. I hope it's mutual. You may say this guy's an a-hole, but I don't know.
No. It's great.
I have a business idea for you. When you listed out all your companies, I have an idea for you. But I just want to point something out that you mentioned, like, guys, this is probably one of the easiest interviews I've ever done. I've done hundreds of them, but you guys make it look easy. I know it's not behind the curtain, but I wanted to point out for the audience this thing that we talk about often. Everybody's chasing happiness, and happiness is like a rabbit, and you're never going to get happiness. What you will get is if you work your butt off and you go through a lot of pain, 10, 15, 20 years later, what you get is fulfillment. You get to look back on all the hard work and the struggle. And what's happening today in society, they don't want to go through that hard work. And so I talked to a friend of mine who lost 100 pounds over a year. And I said, did you like getting up at 4:30 in the morning going to the gym? He goes, I hated it, but I love where I am now. And you guys have done and demonstrated the hard work necessary to get to the point of fulfillment. And I could see it just looking at you. So I'm going to give you guys a final word. Say anything you want, promote anything you want. You're our kind of people.
I think if you've got a lot of entrepreneurs that are your listeners, I would just tell them if they've got a dream to go for it. Don't let anything stop them. Don't let anything get in their way. And taking action, even if it's small action, is kind of the name of the game, and just keep going. If you've got people that are on here that are their goals are real estate specific, we'd love to have you at one of our workshops. We've got one coming up this weekend. It starts tomorrow, and then we do them pretty much monthly. So if they want to learn more about that, they can go to homeflippingworkshop.com. If they want to know more about Glenn and I, they can go right to our page that you mentioned in the beginning, glennandamber.com. And there's all the links to our podcast and YouTube channel and all that good stuff on there. But we really do, like for us right now, the reward is paying it forward and teaching other people. And the coolest thing I think about real estate is that you don't have to have experience. It doesn't matter your educational background. It doesn't matter if you're a man or a woman, your age, you're young or old. None of that matters. If you've got like the will and the drive to do it, you don't even have to have a lot of money behind you, because we teach you how to do it without the money. So if you've got a real estate specific goal, we'd love to talk to you.
Well, I say real estate too, not just real estate specific, but if we talk about how real estate is just a vehicle, most of them, our big goals require finances. They require money at some level. Obviously, emotional goals are something different, but any kind of life material goals or things you want to get, or even lifestyles you want to have, even end of life, quality of life, like we talked about, any of that stuff you want to get, that's going to require finances.
Retirement.
Retirement, whatever. So we just teach that real estate is a vehicle to get you there. That's all that it is. It's a vehicle. People like stocks. My son is 21. He loves all the Bitcoin, all that. Yeah. He's all into it. I don't understand any of it, but God bless him, but whatever. But it's just a vehicle. And real estate to me is the most sound, inflation-proof vehicle that we have found that we love to use. So we just say to people, listen, if you have a goal, we teach you how to get from point A to point B using real estate. You may not do it forever, but build up a little portfolio, get some income coming in, and go from there. And I just speak to your entrepreneurs real quick before we go. And I've been doing this since I was 19. Started my first business at 19. I'm 52 today. So not today, not my birthday today, but 52. And so I've had a long life of being an entrepreneur, and you've got to want it. If you want to work for yourself, you've got to want it. I mean, you have to want it. There's no part-time entrepreneurs. I have a friend of mine who's like, I'm a part-time entrepreneur. I go, I love you, but there's no such thing.
That's a wantrepreneur.
Yeah, it's a wantrepreneur. You have a security blanket. That's not the same thing. If you want it bad and you want to build it big and you want to own your own life, there's tremendous freedom in that, but you're going to pay a price. And so no BS, you're going to pay it. At our workshops, the first thing I open up with is, if you came for a get rich quick scheme, you got the wrong place, you got the wrong guy. I'm going to teach you that this is work, and it's hard work. Sometimes it's brutal, but it's worth it.
I have a business idea for an event that you can do, Amber, that I think you'd become very wealthy. I know a girl that makes $10 million a year teaching a similar webinar, but not this. And it's a webinar about how to take a guy who's $80,000 in debt and make a real man out of him.
I was the thing that was ugly. She made pretty. That was
No, but I mean, that's an awesome seminar idea, I think. How many people married a guy who was $80,000 in debt, and 2 years later, he's $180,000 in debt?
Oh, that's pretty funny.
I love it.
That's a good one. That's a great one.
I might steal that.
Oh, Rick,
steal it. I'm giving it to you. Why does it say Mike on the bottom, by the way?
Oh, my AV guy. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's Glenn and Amber. I'm sorry about that. I don't know why. That's funny. Yeah, so right now my team is preparing upstairs. They're preparing for our workshop, and I bet you they're logged in through another Zoom account. Yeah. That's probably what's tying to it. So, yeah.
Well, listen, I enjoyed it. I know you have to go. You guys are awesome. So I am definitely going to circle back. I have an idea for you. So look for an email from Morgan. Thank you. Just say the websites again. It's, of course, glennandamber.com, Glenn with 2 N's, and then the flipping website.
Yeah, homeflippingworkshop.com.
It's homeflippingworkshop.com. Are you new here? It's homeflippingworkshop.com. If you want to see us fight.
She'll smack him around later. All right. Thank you guys. It was awesome.
So much, Rick. Have a good
thanks. Bye now.
You have just experienced the Money for Life podcast, brought to you by the 100-Year Savings Solution. Implement these strategies today and create a life by design. For more information, visit 100yearsavings.com. Have a blessed day.